Hi, welcome to the demonstration of ApprovalPlus, this time focused on raising a purchase order. So from your landing page, all of your actions are on the right hand side, so simply select New Purchase Order. You'll see we've got the screen split in two halves. On the left we'll see an empty purchase order appear, and on the right is where we're going to do our data entry. And the idea is as we enter, the purchase order will be filled out and we'll be able to see what's happening on there. Read items are compulsory, so we need to select a supplier. If you enter in there and start typing and pause, it'll type ahead for you. If you keep typing and pause again, it'll narrow the list down for you. It'll help with data entry, so for fields, for example, such as what the purchase order is for, it'll remember the things you've used last time, and you can use those again if you want to. And little things like putting a T in the date field, or put today's date and the required delivery date if you want to. And there's some options, so you can, for example, in my case here, we've got the amounts not being printed on the purchase order, so you can toggle that between printing them and not printing them, so useful when you're doing an estimate. You can make it a quote, which takes away any tolerance later in the process when the invoice comes through, or you can make it urgent, where an email should be sent straight to your approver without waiting for a batch of those approvals. So you create the purchase order, it's creating the header at that stage, and we will see that some of the data updates over on the purchase order document. Then we continue on, follow the red thing, and really fill out what it is we're going to purchase off the supplier. Depending on your suppliers, you may have loaded catalogs, so in this case I must pick from the list that's on the supplier. And you can type in there and search for items. So for example, if I pick yellow post-it notes, that's going to fill in the item codes, descriptions and prices. So some suppliers you may be typing those things in. Also I want 3 of those. It'll do the price and the GST for me, and then I'm going on to do the coding. Okay, so generally you'll have access to parts of the business you'll be allowed to code to, and we may have object codes defaulted in for the supplier or for this item. I'm just choosing one here. Other fields that are required will pop up in red if necessary, and ones that are optional will be there as well. So you could be, for example, adding an asset number in there. Okay, so continuing on, the last thing we need to do on this piece of the document is to choose an approver for the combination of this item and price and where it's been coded to and who's attached to me. You may be able to be set up to approve your own. Okay, all being well, that's all you need to do to create the item. You hit save. If you do want to create a similar item with mostly the same coding and things like that, you can say save and copy. Okay, and that's the creation done. I'm just going to show you a couple of options. You could also desire to attach other things to this document to send to the supplier, or maybe to just have as background information. So I'm just searching for another document here. I'm attaching a contract. Give it a name of contract and add that, and you'll see that we're going to have other attachments appearing here, and at the moment that's just for internal use, but if I want to send that with the purchase order, I just simply click on that and then toggle this one to attach it with the purchase order as well. Okay, the other thing you may want to do before you send it to your approvers is add a comment in. Click over on the actions, add a comment. And save that. Okay, now the idea is as I send all of these things off to my approver, they'll get an email notifying them they've got a task to do. They'll come in here and they'll get a summary of what the status is, so it's waiting to be approved, and this is for the finance cupboard. And that's really all you have to do to create a purchase order in most cases. There's some other options, but that's the most common pieces.